Greetings loyal subscribers and honoured guests. Today I want to talk about a really cool and somewhat overlooked little action game by the name of The Red Star. It's based on the comic book of the same name that was published by Image Comics from 1999 to 2006, which was created by American artist Christian Gossett. The comics and the game itself are set in a futuristic magic-using Soviet Union and see a bunch of rebels going up against the might of the Red Army and their gigantic war machines. The playable characters in the game, Makita, a Nagorkan rebel, Kyuzo, a bodyguard of Maya Antares, and Maya Antares herself, a warcaster, sorcerer and human energy cannon, are all from the original comics. The game was an unfortunate victim of the collapse of Acclaim, as an Xbox version was 100% completed and sent out to reviewers but was never released, probably because when the Xbox 360 arrived on the scene, Microsoft effectively killed off their original console overnight. The PS2 version was originally due to be released in 2006 alongside the Xbox version, but remained in limbo for a time until XS Games picked up the rights and released it in April of 2007. A PSP port was created and released in March of 2010. Ultimately, though the game was well received by reviewers and those who happened to play it at the time, it was largely ignored by the public and is seldom talked about now. This is a great shame because it is a fantastic arcade action game that should be in your PS2 collection. Now that I'm done with the history lesson, let's get into what makes the game so special. The graphics of the Red Star are nicely detailed and glitch-free, and I like the design of the HUD that is overlaid on the screen, which makes it look like you are looking through a curved CRT monitor at the action. A lot of the bosses are huge with multiple sections, yet crucially the action never slows down. The reason I've docked a few points in this category is that things can start to look a little samey after a while. For the first dozen or so missions, the game uses the same rather drab colour palette, and you will be fighting the same enemy units. After around the halfway mark in the campaign, the action moves to the desert and things do change up a little bit. For me, it's not a huge issue though. The Red Star features some frenetic sounding techno-industrial music which suits the setting and the genre of the game. The soundtrack can get a bit drowned out by the bone-crunching hit sounds and the grunts and groans of the player character and enemies, which is a bit of a shame. The gun and special ability effects are also nice and punchy. No weak pew-pew sounds here, just the satisfying tone of machine guns being fired. The game mechanics are really what set the Red Star apart from any other action game of the time. What you have here is a combination of a Streets of Rage or Final Fight style scrolling brawler with all the different moves and character options you would expect from a game like this, and a twin stick shooter. At various key points throughout a typical level, the scrolling will stop and you will be pitted against a boss. It is here that your guns become very useful as you begin systematically destroying the enemy's weak points. These bosses can prove challenging though because they will have multiple attack patterns and are not averse to spewing out waves of bullets that are reminiscent of something like a cave shooter. Sometimes you can shoot these bullets and carve a path through them that way, other times you just have to dodge them. If the game is feeling really mean, it may decide to combine targets that have to be shot, bullets that have to be dodged, and soldiers that have to be meleeed all at the same time. It really keeps you on your toes, yet still feels fair. At the end of each stage you are ranked based on how much damage you took, lives you lost and points you earned by maintaining the combos or using your special attack, which charges up as you deal out abuse to the enemy. The grade is then converted into money, which you can use to upgrade various elements of your character. This includes melee damage dealt out and received, the firing rate of your gun damage, special ability charge rate, the length of your health meter and so on. Even if you excel at every mission, you won't have enough money to upgrade everything that you would like to, so you will need to make a decision about what to improve first. You can't go back to previous missions and farm them for more currency either, which I was annoyed about at first, but would probably have made the game too easy if it was there. No, in my opinion the game has been tuned just right. It's not a pushover, but never feels insurmountable either. Long before Nier and Nier Automata were mashing together melee combat with shooting and bullet hell elements, the Red Star did something very similar. The combination of Streets of Rage style brawling combat with slick gunplay and spectacular drawn out boss battles all come together to make something very special. The Red Star features a fairly lengthy campaign mode which is no pushover. Some of the later stages will most likely take you multiple attempts to beat, though they always feel possible if you just get good enough and learn the enemy patterns. Unlockables will keep you coming back and playing through the game again, and you can always persuade a friend to play along with you in the great co-op mode. I managed to pick up my copy of the Red Star boxed and complete for £5, which is a real bargain, and there are still plenty of copies on eBay going for that or less at the time of writing. The Red Star is cleverly designed and slickly programmed with tons of smart touches and addictive gameplay. It is just challenging enough that you won't storm through it on your first attempt, yet will keep coming back until you beat it. And once you do, you still have the other characters to try which do play differently from one another. I suggest that everyone who likes the look of this game go out and find a copy straight away, as it won't always be so cheap or readily available. Definitely one of the premier action games for the PS2, which deserves a lot more love. Go get it.